What's in a name? BSA is back, so proclaimed the advertising bump in the early 1980s about the range of bikes they had in production then, one of which I was very lucky to have been bought as a special sort of carrot dangled in front of me to stay on at school after I turned 16 and do my O-levels. My parents bought me a 50cc BSA Brigand, and I remember it. BSA is back. But it was a great little bike, very easy to de-restrict, and it went like stink once I did, and I really thought the world of it. It was great. But I found it very hard also to make a connection between that and the BSA Bantam field bike, which I started with as my first bike when I was just prior to being 12 years old, actually. I didn't for 1 minute think or hope that maybe some of the hands that might have worked on my BSA Bantam when it was produced worked on my 50cc BSA Brigand. That was very unlikely to damn near impossible, but it had the BSA name on the tank. I didn't choose it because of that. I chose it because I read the specifications and the road tests and quickly twigged that it was one of the lightest and one of the most powerful in restricted form 50cc bikes you could get your hands on. And also I spotted that it seemed to have an engine very similar to those very fast little Italjet children's scramblers which went like stink. And sure enough, as soon as it gained a 19mm Delorso carburettor instead of the I think it had a 14 on it when I bought it, and a smaller rear wheel sprocket, it almost gave it a 50% speed increase. And like I say, it was a great product and I enjoyed the bike. It was brilliant, but I didn't really for 1 minute think I had anything that had any connection to the A65s, the Gold Stars, the Rocket 3s, and even the Bantams, of course. And then after a few years, the BSA name seemed to all go quiet again, until it was revived, I think, would it have been the late 80s, early 90s perhaps, when you had BSA Regal and they built the BSA Gold SR. And I actually stumbled upon their office or HQ, call it what you want. I think it was in Southampton. I was down there for a weekend wandering around. Well, my now wife was working down there and I was at a loose end, and I got talking to this really nice guy and invited him for a cup of coffee to look at this Gold SR, which looked lovely. Looked like a BSA Gold Star pretty much, the original, but it had a Yamaha 500cc single engine in it. Great effort, and the bike looked great and everything. Did I want one? Not really, no, but I had a nice chat with a very nice guy and a good close look at the bike, and it was certainly very well executed and looked great. Then the BSA name seemed to sort of disappear again. This is as far as I'm aware. I'm not aware of them making any or many bikes since that BSA Regal until BSA Gold SR, made by BSA Regal I should say, until very recently the name has surfaced again on a 650 Gold Star. Now again, not my cup of tea. It doesn't matter to me whether they sell loads of them, don't sell any of them or what. But what I'm coming to, and it's not just BSA, but I gave BSA as an example because I did actually buy a post Small Heath BSA bike and I did like it, I did enjoy it, I thought it was great. But that was it. I could find no real tangible connection to the originals. So we've got BSA. The name is being applied to the side of motorcycle tanks again these days. Royal Enfield. Well, Royal Enfield has sort of kept going pretty much non-stop, in that there was an overlap between Britain and India producing the machines, and obviously by 1970 or so the British end had vanished. The Indians carried on, but for a little while they were Enfield India. They only got the royal name back in later years, but I can see, fair enough, there's continuity there. And I think, was it 1901, I think it was, that they started. Anyway, they are the longest in production manufacturer in the world, and I'll accept that. Yeah, that's fine, not a problem. Do I want any of their current products? Not really, because I'm not interested in modern bikes, basically. They just don't appeal to me, whatever name is on the tank. So nothing against them, but I don't want one. Other names. Well, we've got Matchless. You can't get a matchless motorbike anymore, but you can get some very posh, overpriced clothes. I wonder what were their names? The family that owned Matchless. It'll come to me in a moment. I've gone black because I don't read off a script, unfortunately. It'll come to me anyway. We'll come back to that one. But I can't imagine that the original people that founded Matchless, the original make, would have been over the moon to find that nowadays, if you buy a Matchless, it's probably a very overpriced leather jacket or something, or a pair of boots or whatever it is. The Colliers, that's it. Sorry, the Collier family. And similarly, the AJS name is still applied to motorcycles to this day. Now, you can sort of argue for or against whether they should be or whatever. I'm not going to sort of say they should or they shouldn't do it or whatever. And apparently, the BSA name has been around, presumably active or whatever, in the last 50 years. I'm not quite sure how this all works, and likewise AJS. But you can still get motorbikes with BSA on the tank, AJS on the tank. Interestingly enough, very recently, it would seem that a Panther has made an appearance. A big V-twin cruisery style thing, I think it is. And it just really, all this got me wondering. I'm not taking anything away from the people who want to apply those names to the tanks. They must own the names. Why they can't sort of just come up with a new current name or whatever. And the reason I'm saying that is, for long enough, those names, AJS, Matchless, Royal Enfield, Triumph is another one. Is there a tangible connection to Meriden? And prior to that, well, I don't know. I suppose if you sort of try very hard, you might just about sort of pull something out of the bag, but I'm not entirely certain. And incidentally, the first generation Triumph Trident 900, my father bought one, and I was going to buy, and almost did buy, the first generation Speed Triple. The only thing that stopped me, I wasn't put off, was I worked away on a boat for, I think, about 9 or 10 weeks, until I came home with the £6,000 I needed to buy it at the time. And would you believe, when I got home, I saw the advert for my now house for sale. That was 1995 I bought the house. So the money I saved to buy the Triumph, I used as a deposit on the house. So that's the only reason I didn't buy one. I thought they were great at the time. Would I want one now? Probably not. But anyway, Triumph, BSA, AJS, Matchless, Panther. Now, these are all names that probably 30 or 40 years ago were sneered at and derided. Now all of a sudden, they're okay again. And people are falling over themselves to use them. And like I say, each to their own. I'm not knocking it. I'm just wondering, really, why? When, you know, there are so many other names. You could even make up your own name. Why dig up an old name that really did go to the wall pretty much a long time ago, except that when the company actually sort of finished, and perhaps the buildings got demolished and the tooling got scrapped and sold off and whatever, and everyone got paid off or not, or whatever happened, the place closed and everyone walked away, why suddenly decide that, oh, okay, someone bought that name, and it's obviously, these names, they must pass from people to people that get sold on or whatever, and so-and-so's got the rights to them now, and blah blah blah, and so-and-so's going to do this with them. Norton is another one, of course. And what they're making really has no, or very, very, very little connection to the original products, places and factories. And it certainly can't be a case that any of them have any connection to the original people. You'd be alright, there may be a few people around that worked at Triumph, perhaps, nudging the 1980s, that might still possibly be working for the current Triumph. I don't know, that's a long shot. But like I say, this is all about the names on the tanks and why they get dredged up again. And I don't know, it's like as though the heritage somehow... Now, I find any heritage hard to sort of take in anyway, but the names are used from a heritage point of view, and it's as if people are sort of, oh great, BSA are making bikes again. Where are they making them? Well, it's not in Small Heath for a start off, and of course I know that obviously we can't have BSA A65s and Rocket 3s rolling off the production line in Birmingham anymore. Even I'm not daft enough to sort of expect that. But show me a connection. I just can't get my head around it. It's a bit like if I sort of... My grandfather probably passed away some 20 odd years ago, maybe a bit more than that actually. And it'd be a bit like, as far as I'm concerned, like wandering up to some random old man and saying, "Excuse me, mate, can I call you Grandad? Hey, look everybody, Grandad's back." It just doesn't seem to work for me. I can't get my head around it. I'm sorry. Perhaps I've rambled on for long enough now, but I just wanted to put that out there. And I'm not knocking the products. Obviously, the products seem to sell, so someone's buying them. But are these people buying the products because they like the product and it suits them, or because they believe they're buying something made by an good old British name? I don't know. And as far as I'm concerned, the jury's out on that one, but I'll just leave it out there. Shoot me down in flames if you want, agree with me if you want, whatever. Anyway, I just thought I'd share that. Time for me to go now because I'm definitely waffling. Thanks for watching.